All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Ted Elshoff with Kimley Horn, and thank you for taking some time this evening to join us for the West End Water, Sewer, and Storm Replacements Phase 1 public meeting. We have several representatives of our project team here today. On behalf of the City of Durham, Jeremy Farlow will be the city's project manager during construction. Our contractor on this project is JF Wilkerson Contracting Company. Their project manager is Brian Wilkerson, and their superintendent is Corey Ritter. Kimley Horn served as the design engineer on the project. From Kimley Horn, we have myself, Ted Elsoff, who will be construction administrator, and Nolan Rainey, who is the engineering project manager. And then lastly, Aaron Hawley from Holland's Construction Services will be supporting the city and Kimley Horn as the resident project representative. Our presentation tonight will begin with a general overview of the project. We'll outline some details of the need for this work. Continuing from there, we'll talk through some of the phasing to expect during this project, as well as some of the impacts you can anticipate during construction activities. And then we will close with how to stay informed, as well as turning it over to you all if there's any questions or topics to discuss in more detail. On this slide, we have a general overview of the project area. It includes Proctor Street between Carroll and Vickers Avenue, as well as blocks along Shepherd Street, Arnett Avenue, and Moorhead Avenue. Within these blocks will include water main replacement on all blocks of the project area. We'll also be rehabilitating the existing clay sewer mains throughout the project and installing a new storm sewer along Arnett Avenue, Moorhead Avenue, and a portion of Proctor Street. On this map, the storm sewer is shown in the dashed purple. The water main portions of the project are shown in teal, and the proposed sanitary sewer rehab is shown in green. A summary of the proposed work included with this project. We will be upsizing approximately 2,700 feet of existing water main with new 8 and 12-inch water lines. Additionally, as mentioned, we'll be rehabilitating approximately 1,200 feet of existing sanitary sewer mains. We will be installing 1,100 feet of new reinforced concrete storm sewer. Throughout the project area, we will be upgrading existing water meters and hydrants to meet current city standards. And finally, we will restore pavement through all impacted areas of the project. So why is this project needed? Several of the water mains in the project area are aging cast iron pipe. We will be replacing those with new 8 and 12-inch ductile iron water main. Additionally, the existing sanitary sewer system, we will be rehabilitating that to extend its service life. And then lastly, the proposed stormwater work will help to alleviate flooding that has been observed in the project vicinity. All right, the proposed project timeline. Construction is anticipated to begin in May of 2026. The work is anticipated to take approximately 8 months, and we expect it to be complete by the end of 2026. As far as phasing of this project, construction will generally be sequenced by blocks. However, with multiple utilities requiring replacement, the contractor will have to make multiple passes of each block. This will generally include replacement of water main throughout the project area, followed by replacement of the existing or installation of the new storm sewer, and rehabilitation of the sewer main can occur concurrently with those two tasks. The typical construction process will begin by seeing trucks and equipment bringing materials to the project site. These materials will generally be staged off-site. However, there will be materials stored in the right-of-way during active work. As mentioned previously, there will be multiple passes for each utility, water, sewer, and storm. Following installation of a given utility, existing water and sewer services will be reconnected to the new mains. The general process involves installing, disinfecting, and testing the new water and sewer by each block. Once the water main has been tested, all existing services will be switched over to the new main, and new cleanouts and water meters will be installed at the right-of-way line along each block. The contractor will be working only in right-of-way and easement locations. And throughout the project, there will be temporary asphalt patching until surface restoration can be completed. There will be also phased lane and road closures throughout construction. These will be provided with flaggers and detours to allow the contractor to work on a given block. We've included a few photos of what construction will look like. The photo on the left, if you're here in the room with us, it's a little tough to see, but this is a new water main T with a valve. The photo in the middle is a good depiction of a utility trench and pavement. And then for service reconnections, we have a photo on the right here showing a new meter and water service. Safety will be of utmost priority to the city, JF Wilkerson, as well as Kimley Horn on this project. As you're out in the project area, please stay clear of the work area and remain behind any construction barriers. A traffic control plan for this project has been reviewed by the city. And again, as previously mentioned, there will be road and lane closures during construction. However, these will be limited to the active work area. Continuing on the topic of traffic and pedestrian impacts, again, there will be road closures to through traffic. However, access to driveways will be maintained at all times by the contractor. Regarding pedestrian impacts, there's limited work in sidewalks as part of this project, primarily involving service reconnections. When that work is required, there will be signed detours for pedestrians whenever a sidewalk needs to be closed. Impacts to businesses and residents. As previously mentioned, we will be maintaining access to all facilities throughout construction. However, there will be lane and road closures. Noise impacts are also unavoidable with all construction, but we will do all that we can to minimize those impacts. Typical work hours will be daytime from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. However, there may be occasional night work required. And lastly, any planned interruptions to utility service, you'll be notified a minimum of 7 days in advance. These will generally be limited to service reconnections and should be a relatively short time frame. So with all that, what to expect in the coming months? Notifications will continue to be pushed out via the website as well as email. Um, you will begin to see paint on the ground that denotes the existing location of utilities. As the contractor prepares to begin, there will be traffic control signage placed throughout the work area. 7-day notifications will be distributed prior to work on any specific block. And lastly, as mentioned previously, construction will commence in May of 2026. As part of this project, the contractor will be replacing existing utility services up to the right-of-way. With that, they will be helping the city with the lead and copper rule to identify existing materials. All water services have two portions. There's the city-owned portion from the main to the meter. This portion will be replaced during construction, and the contractor will verify materials and report that back to the city. The customer-owned side of the water service goes from the water meter to the building. The contractor will also be verifying existing materials of customer-owned services. This will generally be accomplished with a test pit approximately 4 feet behind your meter. The contractor will report these materials to the city, and the city will also notify all customers. In addition, eligible customers are able to self-report their service material and receive a $30 water utility credit. If you're interested in that, there's a link on this slide to durhamnc.gov/5184, as well as a QR code. So as we get towards construction, how to stay informed. You can follow the City of Durham on their Facebook page at Durham Saves Water. Additionally, there is a project-specific webpage for West End Phase 1 at durhamnc.gov/4992. And the QR code on this slide will take you to that webpage. Throughout construction, there will be bi-weekly schedule updates. You may sign up to receive these emails via the project webpage. Aaron Hawley, as mentioned previously, will also be our full-time on-site construction observer. So if there are questions in the field, please don't hesitate to speak with him. And there are also project contacts for the overall West End project on the city's website. With that, are there any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
So I guess if there's a storm drain pipe going through like a portion of your yard or your property, is that something that y'all are working on too? And how do you know like when y'all might be working on that?
So the only storm within private property included in this project is near the intersection of Moorhead and Shepherd Street. That has been coordinated to replace that portion of the infrastructure. However, there should not be any additional private storm sewer involved with this project. And we do have some representatives of the city stormwater group. They're nodding in agreement with my response. We did have one question in person.
This some more clarification on what they're using. So because I haven't raised and I want to make sure I'm able to do it.
Absolutely. So I guess as far as so the question we received was if there was any customer responsibility during construction and what that process would look like. Generally, no. However, there will be notifications. There will be door hangers put out. So mostly I would say keeping an eye out for those door hangers or notices. one of the slides we mentioned potential interruptions to utility service. Those will be important ones that if you're contacted to let you know on a given day, you'll be out of service for 2 hours. I'll let city staff add to that, but I think awareness would be probably the only responsibility.
Yeah, we won't go home and work.
Oh.
And we do try to plan those interruptions not to be at 7 a.m. while people are getting ready for work. So, yeah.
I think you mentioned the method for notifying customers of the outages would be like door hangers typically.
Yeah, so we will post door hangers 7 days in advance, and a lot of times the contractor will go door to door. We ask also that they try to give a 24-hour heads up in case people have forgotten the exact day.
Unexpected interruptions. If we find something in the ground that wasn't where we thought it was, or we never had any documentation on it, there can be temporary disruptions. Unexpected interruptions. If we run into a water main that is not marked or a service that is not marked or not on our records, then it'll be a temporary disruption. And we'll get the water back on as quick as possible, and we'll notify everybody that's affected.
What we made it in, will be notified. Okay.
Are there?
Is this PowerPoint presentation available on the website?
Yes, so this is being recorded both in English and in Spanish and will be posted on the website once that recording is. Are there any more questions for our Zoom attendees?
Yeah, sorry, just one more quick question. So I just have some other, I think I just need to think more, but I have other questions about like the stormwater pipe that's going through like my property that's part of this area or whatever. But who would I guess, direct maybe that question to on a later date if I wanted to send an email or something? Who would be the best person?
If you wanted to send it via email, sending it to either Jeremy or myself is perfectly acceptable, and we can forward
Okay.
it to get the correct answers.
That's great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions from our online participants? Any other questions in person? All right. Well, I will turn it back over to Joe, and thank you again for your time this evening.
Thank you, everyone, for attending online and in person. Glad to have you here. Be sure to sign up for the biweekly notifications and give us a call if there's any issue. So thanks for coming.